Hello friends, TomDay here. Today I wanted to share with you one of my favorite builds for the Crusader, the Blessed Shield build. I think it might be my favorite build, hands down. It's just so much fun to have shields flying all over the screen. You're just Captain America-ing everything down. But it doesn't really matter. Let's talk about the build first. So I'm using Iron Skin Flash. This is a nice ability because sometimes you find yourself cornered behind mobs and you pop this, they hit you, and then you can run through them. That's kind of nice. It also does give you a little bit of damage reduction, which is also good. Using Blessed Shield Shattering Throw. You can do the Holy variant with Shattering Throw, or you can do a Fire one with Combust. They're both quite good. I just happen to like the Holy version, mainly because I like the way the shields look when they explode, hit monsters all over the screen. That's about it. If you're pushing GRs, you might be better to use Combust, but I don't really do that, so, Shattering Throw for me. I'm using Steed Charge Endurance. If you don't like Endurance, you could use Draw and Quarter. That's also good. Grab a bunch of monsters with you, so when you're running, you can kind of chain things together. That could be good. Important, yeah, that kind of stuff. We got Laws of Valor Critical. This is the damage one. If you want to go, you want to be able to move a little quicker, do Laws of Hope, Wings of Angels. This will get you to run through things a bit quicker, but it's up to you. It doesn't really matter that much. Akarat's Champion Prophet. Gotta use it. End of story. Shield Glare. I love using Uncertainty Rune. You could also use Divine Verdict for more damage, but Uncertainty is really incredible. You pop it, and everything around you is blinded. You get insane amounts of CC on bosses, and it's almost going to be off cooldown by the time they're unblinded. It's ridiculous. It's so strong. For passives, I'm a fan of Fervor, Towering Shield, Holy Cause, and Finery. Now, obviously, if you're using the Fire variant of this, don't use Holy Cause. Use something like Indestructible or Long Arm of the Law. Both of these are quite good. Long Arm of the Law is particularly strong with Laws of Valor Critical, because you're getting an increased attack speed and increased critical hit damage, which is, it's for what, like 10 seconds or something with Long Arm of the Law. It's nice. It's quite powerful. Let's look over some items here. The first thing I want to note is that cooldown reduction is extremely important for this build. You actually want more than this. If you want to have Akarat's Champion be up without having to do anything else, you're going to need 55.6% cooldown reduction. Now, I don't have that because I'm using the Gogok of Swiftness, which I'll talk about more in a minute, but just keep in mind that cooldown reduction is it's probably the most important stat for this build, actually for almost all Crusader builds. Anyways, you're going to be using the Armor of a Khan set. That's because you're going to get some CDR with the 4-piece, and the 6-piece makes you take a lot less damage and deal a massive amount of damage. The 2-piece is irrelevant for this because Blessed Shield costs nothing, thanks to Grey Falcon's Foot. Anyways, for stats on the helm, you're looking at Strength, Vitality, and Critical Hit Chance. You don't need Vitality. You could use Blessed Shield damage if you want to go, balls out. On the shoulders, you're looking at Strength, Vitality, All Resist cooldown reduction. All Resist could also be area damage. On the necklace, you're going to be using the Traveler's Pledge, and we're also going to be using the Compass Rose in the ring slot. So anyways, the Traveler's Pledge, you want critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and then either percent holy damage or percent fire damage instead of strength. But that's kind of hard to get sometimes, so if you get something that looks like this, you'll be quite good. Make sure it does have the socket. In the armor, you want Strength, Vitality, Life. If you can't get Life, maybe you could get All Resists, or you could get the reduced damage as well for monsters. That's fine. For gloves, you really do kind of want this trifecta here, where you have the critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and cooldown reduction. I know it's hard. It's kind of lucky. I was really lucky. I was super happy that I found these, and it has a high strength roll as well. But this is what you're looking for. You really do want these stats if you can get them. For the bracers, you're going to be using a Khan's Manacles. You want either a Fire or Holy Skill damage, Strength, Vitality, Crit. For the belt, you're looking at the Witching Hour. You would like Strength, Vitality, Attack Speed, and Critical Hit Damage. Now, if you don't have to have Strength, you could reroll the Strength into Life percent if you're feeling kind of weak. That's also a possibility. In the pants, you're going to have Strength, Vitality, All Resist, pretty standard. And then the boots, Strength, Vitality, All Resist, and Blessed Shield damage. And in your armor, you can socket yourself with Strength or Diamonds, depending on how strong you feel. In the helm, you definitely need the Diamond, without question. You need that cooldown reduction. So for rings, you're going to be using Convention of the Elements. Ideally, you'd like cooldown reduction, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage. But again, that's hard to get. And then the other ring is going to be the Compass Rose. And on this ring, you could have a crazy ring. You could have crit chance, attack speed, critical hit damage, and area damage. But that's insane. And cooldown reduction, excuse me. But that's highly unlikely. Ideally, you'd love to have cooldown reduction on this, though, because you do want as much as you can get. For the weapon, Grey Falcon's Foot, you do need this. It removes the cost of Blessed Shield and increases the damage by a lot. For rolls, you're looking at Strength, Vitality, cooldown reduction, possibly area damage instead of Vitality. Something along those lines. For the shield, this is I don't like this. My shield is kind of gross because it has that armor on it. Yuck. But it has a really high Blessed Shield damage percent roll, so that's good. Anyways, Strength, Vitality, critical hit chance, area damage, cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is really big on the shield because you can get up to... Is it 10? No, I think it's only 8% still. But yeah, that's what you're looking at. You want as much cooldown as you can get, which brings us to our gems. That's why I'm using the Golgotha Swiftness. It gives us attack speed, it gives us dodge, and it gives us cooldown reduction. And so to put this into perspective, with 55.6% cooldown reduction, Acrobat's Champion will be up when I press E, and then it goes all the way around. Now this gives up to 15% cooldown reduction, but of course that's only if you're hitting monsters with your shield, so that's not going to be constant, right? So most of the time, with around 50% cooldown reduction, and this gem, Acrobat's Champion will be up at almost the time when it's done. You may have to wait a second or two depending on how dense the mobs are and all that kind of stuff. The other gems, the Tried and True, Bane of the Trapped, and Bane of the Stricken. Both excellent gems for this build. So for Paragon, let's talk about that really quick. You're going to do movement speed until you have maximum, and then dump the rest in strength. Offense, you need that cooldown reduction, and then you probably would do critical hit damage. And then up to you between attack speed and critical hit chance. Try to keep in mind that ideally for every 1 point of critical hit chance, you have 10 points of critical hit damage. 1 to 1, or 10 to 1. Now, I have a lot of critical hit chance, so when I was doing my Paragon, since I'm only 600, I just put stuff into attack speed, and I found that was increasing my damage more than critical hit chance was. Defense, I went all resist, life, then armor. And then here, the only one that actually really matters is area damage. But then, life per hit, gold, fine, whatever. That's good to go. And looking at the cube, we're using the Akon's Leniency, which is pretty much infinitely scaling damage to Blessed Shield, depending on how many things you can hit in that amount of time. You gotta use it, it's good. Kia Kuros, you don't use any resource, so it's just more damage reduction. Unity, again, more damage reduction. Just make sure you have it also on your follower, obviously. Now with this damage and this low Paragon, and this is the only thing that's augmented, and actually, I have one other ancient item, but we're not looking at really high-end gear here. I'm able to do a 78 Rift with pretty much no problems as long as I'm paying attention to when this is up and stuff like that. Overall, I don't know, I just love this build. It's Captain America, man. How can you not love it? It's a ton of fun. So, I hope you guys enjoy the build, and I hope you have fun with Season 13, and talk to you guys next time.
Indeterminate usefulness. Unleash your